I gave people all the stuff they really needed. Social Security checks, utility bills, TV guide.
I want a TV guidance counselor. TV guidance counselor. Staying up to watch all night, and everything's gonna be alright with my TV guidance counselor.
Hey everybody, welcome to TV Guidance Counselor. I, as always, am Ken Reed, your TV Guidance Counselor. Welcome to February, everybody. Thank you for the feedback on the 11th anniversary episode, looking back at 2015 last week. I get a little weird when it's just me talking about stuff. That was an odd one. But it was so nice to hear from you guys, and the positive comments I got were very helpful. I think we all need that right now. Speaking of positive, this week my guest is incredibly funny. It's LA-based comedian Christine Little. She has a new album out this week called Mixed and Confused. You can buy it anywhere. It's a digital album. It's very, very funny. I will put links in the show description here. This was a fun chat. A lot of chat about Bone Thugs and Harmony, which doesn't come up on the show nearly enough. Anyway, I think you'll enjoy it. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode of TV Guidance Counselor with my guest, Christine Little.
TV is my friend, and it has been always there for me in time of need.
Christine Little, how are you?
Honestly, do you really want to know how I'm doing, or is this just like a general one?
I do. It's a loaded question this day and age, and you know I have to come up with something different from how are you, just to be like how bad are you, or how not okay is it today, something like that.
I've been having some stomach issues today.
Lactose intolerant?
And maybe, but it doesn't stop me from eating a lot of cheese. So my stomach it's not being cool right now.
I understand.
So that's how I'm doing.
I understand. Well, if anything happens, feel free to hit the pause button, because we're not that kind of show.
Okay, good. Did you get a haircut?
I did. I cut my own hair.
Looks nice.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I started cutting my hair during the pandemic with my dog's poodle shears, and I haven't looked back.
That's so funny. My brother started cutting his hair too, and I'm telling you, it looks better than it ever did when he would get it cut.
Yeah, I'll look at pictures pre-pandemic, and I'm like, I paid for that? It's funny. I used to live in London, and I lived in South London in a place called New Cross, and it's like a predominantly like Afro-Caribbean area. So there was not a lot of white people. And the only barbershop there was called Hair by Patrick, and it was this Jamaican guy. And I would go in there, and he didn't actually have scissors. He only had like clippers, because he's like, I only ever use clippers because it's only like black dude's hair. And so he just cut my hair. And then one day I went in, and he pulled out some scissors, and he's like, I bought these for you. It was like fantastic. Yeah, it was. So I always had a very, very close cut, buzz cut, because that was a barbershop.
I didn't know that you could even use scissors with a barbershop. I thought it was clippers or clippers.
Oh,
That's
really?
it.
Oh, yeah. They got special scissors. They got ones that just like thin the hair. That one's always fun. When I was a kid. This is barber talk, everybody. When I was a kid, the barbershop I used to go to, I always used to get this old guy named Oscar, who was like a billion years old. And my dad would always insist that this guy cut my hair, because he's like, he's an old timer. He knows what he's doing. But I knew, and I confirmed this guy, the other side gig he had was cutting dead people's hair for like wakes. So
No way.
I was always, and I never asked, but I was always, every time he was cutting my hair the whole time, because I'm just an anxious person, I was like, are these the dead people's scissors?
Wow, they probably were.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you have other scissors? So I don't think I want to know if I could go back.
Nah, you don't want to know.
No.
You
Go
don't
back
wanna
and get
know.
the dead man.
That just reminds me of Detroiters. I don't know if you watch Detroiters.
No.
They're like, you don't use wigs from dead people hair. And then so to hear this is just hilarious to me.
Yeah. I guess like if you're a barber, depending on your disposition, cutting dead people's hair would either be the best gig ever or the worst gig ever. There's no in the middle.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how you would do it, because they would slump over if you tried to do him down. You probably have to like lay him down off like.
And it'd just be silent
I don't know.
because you'd have to talk like you were talking to a live person, or would you put some music on? I don't know. Any barbers who cut dead people's hair, send me an email. Let me know. We know how that goes.
We want to know.
We gotta know.
Are you talking to them?
Yeah, that's a big part of my listenership are mortician barbers.
Mortician. I think they would have separate scissors.
That they keep like at the place.
Yeah, because I've got different scissors for different rooms. You know, unless this guy's not doing well and he's like, I got to use the same scissors.
I guess that's why they make different colored handles.
There you go.
We've cracked the code, everybody. Already doing work here. So you picked a great issue here. You picked an issue from 1994. This is February 12th to the 18th with Massachusetts' own, my former neighbor, in air quotes, lived a town over, figure skater Nancy Kerrigan. So this is right after the Tonya Harding incident. She's on the cover here in a very uncomfortable looking position.
It looks like she's striving, like she's like trying to get away from Tanya in this picture. She's like, please help me.
Because it's flat, like so for the listener, I put the cover up on the website, but she's got like her leg behind her and she's like reached out kind of like a, you know, like a swan kind of thing, but it's from the front, so it's completely flat. So it just looks like she has one leg up like next to her head and is skating, basically doing a standing split.
Yes, it looks extremely uncomfortable, and her face doesn't negate that. It's pretty on par with that.
I mean, that's kind of.
You know what, Ken? I didn't know this was after the big thing. I thought, I mean, which makes sense because she's getting a lot of press, but I wouldn't know her name if she hadn't.
Yeah, it made her career kind of, for better or worse.
Yeah, it's like, I know that name.
Like, I don't think she would have hosted SNL that year if Jeff Gillooly hadn't hit her in the leg with a pipe.
Wait, she hosted SNL?
She did, yeah.
I didn't know. You may know me from getting attacked.
Yes.
I hate
a lot of people know me from getting hit with a pipe.
Bad victims, like people who are victims of someone, it's like their credits from now on are just like, you may know them from getting harassed or assaulted by so-and-so, like a famous person. It's like, oh, you can't.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, that's a good credit. Who books that? So she was huge at this time because everyone had Olympic fever also, and this is Winter Olympics. So I also, and this is a little crass, so I apologize in advance. It's a special issue. She's in that position, and then it says complete pullout guide, which is a little bit like, I feel like someone at the editorial should have been like, maybe we'll call it something.
You know
else.
what? You're right, especially where the text is positioned.
Yeah.
You think they did that on purpose?
No one would be that oblivious, right?
A complete 48-page pullout.
The word pullout is completely unnecessary in that sentence. It could say a 48-page viewer guide. Do we need to know it's pullout?
There's someone who just needed to slip that in, no pun intended. They were like, I bet I could get this in.
One of their friends was like, dude, I bet you like a good dinner. I don't know why the guy's from Boston, but bet you a good dinner. You can't get the word pullout on the fucking cover.
Yeah, right.
He's like, oh yeah? Yeah, wait till you see. It's a special issue. So this was huge. I mean, this was the biggest story. This was a weird time. This is when, I feel like 94, especially these stories, was like when society started to downfall. We had OJ that year. We had Tonya Harding. We had Lorena Bobbitt. Like all these like huge, now these are the things people want to see on television things instead of like, it was like pre-reality TV stuff that was just kind of terrible.
These are just like classic events. Lorena Bobbitt. It's funny. It's like stuff that would have been the topic of some jokes that everyone knew about. But now people are like, Lorena Bobbitt. You're like, dude, Bobbitt. It sounds just like what she did. You know? Like,
he did stand-up. Do you remember that?
No.
So he's a piece of shit. He was like super abusive and all that stuff when it came out. So, but he, Of course he did this. His first move was, I'm going to make a porn movie with my reattached penis. And he was in a bunch of porn movies. And then that didn't go well. So he went to what's lower than that for people? Stand up. So he went on a stand up tour, and God, just gross.
He probably sold out.
Oh yeah. You'd get one sellout tour. And then after
like,
that,
show us your dick.
He's like, I am. You didn't even notice. This venue's not that big. So also in here, there's before we get to the listings, I always like to look at the Ask TV guide, because to set the stage for people younger than us, you couldn't Google things in 1994. So you had to physically write a letter and mail it somewhere and hope that in a month they picked your letter and answered your question. So I always like to see what they kind of decided was a good question to answer. And one of them, is there a real college campus on Beverly Hills 90210, or is that just a Hollywood set? And they're saying it's fictional. That's not a real campus.
It's not supposed to be a college.
Were they in college by 94? Well, first of all, I just noticed the person who wrote this question, initials BG, is from Boston. So maybe I can find this person, ask them why they asked such a dumbass question.
I mean, the fact that they picked it was bizarre. They must have had some really boring questions.
Because the next one, Adrian Paul of Highlander, Michael Dudikoff of Cobra, and Lorenzo Lamas of Renegade all practice martial arts in their syndicated series. Are any of them really an expert at it? And it tells you which one of them studied martial arts. I have to imagine the person asked that so they knew who it was okay to punch.
Who can I assault safely?
Which one of these guys is a phony and I can punch him in the face?
Exactly. You want to...
Then, because it's the... I need to know. There's 3 guys with ponytails. I want to punch one of them. Which one is going to be able to hit me?
You wouldn't wear a ponytail if you didn't want to get punched.
Because this is the Winter Olympics issue, the what I watch is Brian Boitano. And I have to say, what he watched didn't really surprise me. He watches Nick at Night and the Mary Tyler Moore Show.
That's funny. I had no idea who he was.
He was like the biggest male Olympic skater. And I think on South Park they had a thing called there was a song called What Would Brian Boitano Do that they did in an episode.
Oh, no, I did not. I don't remember him. A lot of looking through this TV guide was like, okay, this isn't for me. This isn't for me. This isn't for me. But there is a Luke Perry article or a little question on the top left, and he talks about doing his own stunts in Urban Cowboy. And I mean,
8 seconds.
I may have like cut the picture out and be like, look, I got a Luke Perry poster.
Were you a collage, like a wall collage girl?
Kinda, yeah. It was just so novel to see. Like anytime, like I was a big Bone Thugs and Harmony fan, and anytime I'd see them in magazines, I'd be like, wow! I'd be so excited.
I'm gonna make my own Crossroads.
I did. I made my own little like logo for Bone Thugs and Harmony. I like learned how to like draw it. So sad.
When did you give up on Bone Thugs and Harmony?
Oh boy. It would be early high school. Because my stepbrother, well, they weren't married, but whatever. He's my stepbrother for all intents and purposes. He turned out to be undiagnosed schizophrenic, and he was like making up stories about me and Bone and them coming to our house and stuff. I thought he was just being weird. Yeah. So they started calling him Kenny Bone, and it just kind of put me off Bone Thugs for
Yeah, that would. That's a legit reason. I feel like even Bone Thugs wouldn't hold that against you. Like when they go check, because every year they go to house to people who stopped liking them, and they just are like, "Hey, can you just fill out this survey?" And I feel like they'd be like, "That's totally legit."
You know what? I've met a couple of them, and one of them messaged me my favorite one messaged me for my birthday one year because one of my old roommate, her boyfriend at the time, was friends with him. I was like so excited.
Do you remember this movie, 8 Seconds, that he was in? It's a movie about bull riding.
Vaguely.
He was one of those people that really pushed to have a movie career, and it wasn't happening.
You know, I don't know why it didn't happen. It sucks because I was such a huge fan of his. I thought he was the coolest guy ever. But he was in a movie, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I don't know if you ever watched that.
Yes.
That the original one, not like the show, but
Yeah, the Christy Swanson one.
yeah, that's her name.
She's a terrible person.
Is she really?
Super Trumper.
No.
Big time. Oh, huge.
Oh my God, I had no idea.
Huge.
But that makes sense.
Yeah, she's like a Scott Baio. She's one. There's like a few actors from that era that did a lot of cocaine, and then stopped getting hired for things, and then decide to blame everyone else, which then leads you down that path to being a Trumper.
Yeah, that'll do it. That's funny. I remember looking at this TV guide. I saw someone reference something about Shannon Doherty, like, oh,
Yeah.
trashing their house or something like that. And so it was like a big thing, well-known thing that she was a partier. And I hated that because I loved her character. But I'm like, she smokes cigarettes?
It's a lie. It's all a lie. Luke Perry, if I was going to pick someone from 90210 that I thought would have gone into a film career, it would have been him. And it just didn't work. By all accounts, not a bad dude either. Like everyone I know who's ever worked with him really liked him. And I've never heard a bad story about him, but there you go. He tried to do 8 seconds.
What do you think happened?
Some people just don't take. Like, there's a bunch of... Like, if you watch Cheers... I don't know why I went through puberty when I said that, but if you watch Cheers, who's the person you're going to pick from that cast to be a movie star? Not Woody Harrelson. There's like 5 people you'd pick before that.
Sam, what was his name?
Ted Danson.
Ted Danson, yeah. He did the three men and a baby or whatever it's called, and a little baby.
Yeah. He was in a few movies, but he was never like a movie, like above the title, like movie star, Or Bruce Willis, like who would have been like, oh yeah, Bruce Willis from Moonlighting. He's going to be a huge star.
Yeah.
Like, it's very weird.
I guess you just don't know.
Who makes it?
Interesting.
Or J-Lo. She was a TV actor before she even put out records.
She was a Fly Girl and in Living Color.
Yeah.
Which is also a show
Knee
that
pads
was
and
on
everything.
during this time.
Yes, this was the tail end of In Living Color, before Chris Rock quit SNL to join In Living Color.
I did not know he joined in Living Color. I don't remember that.
Yeah, for the final season, he was like fed up with SNL not treating him right and not letting him get sketches on, so he just quit and went to In Living Color.
I love
Have you ever ridden a bull?
Yeah, I have. It wasn't a live bull. It was one of those fake ones. Just to clarify.
At a bar or something?
Yeah, I think I did it. Oh man, maybe it was at Saddle Ranch. The one on. Oh wait, you're not in LA. The one on Sunset next to the Comedy Store.
Yeah. Oh
there. Yeah. I always thought that when I got on, I'd kill it, but no, they'll throw you off.
It's harder than you think.
It is.
Yeah, it's harder than you think.
It is.
So good on Luke Perry. Luke Perry's playing a real guy in that movie who was killed while trying to beat the world record for bull riding.
Yeah, and it's called 8 seconds. That's probably how long it took for him to get killed.
Yeah, like, whatever. I feel bad for the guy, but like, what a way to go. That's just like, it. Like, no one you tell that's how that person died is going to be like, what a hero.
Right? He died doing what he loved to do.
When we leave this earth and someone's telling someone about us and how we died, you don't ever want the first response to be, why were they doing that?
Why were they? Right? No.
How'd he die? Oh, he was trying to install his own defibrillator. Why was he doing that?
His own
that
defibrillator. Kind of I always think about that. I'm like, I don't want to die in an embarrassing way, but I feel like bull riding or getting mauled by a bear or something like that's like, whoa. It's like, huh? Like, how did that happen? The bear one, I don't know how much it could have been avoided, but the I didn't know people could die.
The bull for
riding.
sure.
Wait, were these live bulls or just?
Yeah. Oh no, they're live bulls. So if you fall off, they just stomp the shit out of you.
In my mind, it was a mechanical bull, and he died on the mechanical bull.
That I would watch. Like if it's like a marathon, like who can stay on the longest, and people are on these mechanical bulls for like 3-4 days.
They died of old age on the mechanical bull.
Yeah. Yes. I think the movie Urban Cowboy with John Travolta, it was a mechanical
That's what
bull.
it was.
The one with him and Dolly Parton.
Yeah, that was a classic.
Yeah. He is.
And I think maybe part of the reason the 8 Seconds movie didn't do so well is because everyone was comparing it to Urban Cowboy. And, even though it was a problematic story, it just left, it left something in you. But the 8 seconds, I don't even know if I saw it.
You're not alone there. And I think most people, maybe people were like, I'll watch things with robots, but not real animals.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Fight a robot.
That's where I draw
animal.
the line.
There's a bunch of stuff in here about the Carson Leno Letterman thing, which has been well documented and is a whole mess. Then there's a thing in here where I didn't know this, but Jimmy Smits of LA Law is in a new version of the Cisco Kid with Cheech Marin, and it looks ridiculous.
I cannot see it, but I believe.
Yeah. It looks bad. It's like, so it's a 1930s TV show that they've rebooted in 1994 with Jimmy Smits and Cheech Marin.
They've just been rebooting stuff over and over and over again. I mean, it was one of those things that it didn't even register in my consciousness because I'm like, this isn't for me.
You're not a Western gal. Horses and Cisco Kid, already. Two things not there.
It feels like I'm eating vegetables of watching TV or something. You know what I mean? It's just like...
It feels educational.
Yeah. I'm like, It's like I would do it as a favor to someone that I really love.
They're like, hey, I need to watch this thing for work. I can't make it. Will you watch it for me?
Oh, man.
Give me the Cliff Notes.
Oh, that would be hard.
My sort of unofficial rule is I generally don't like any shows set before electricity.
Yeah. But you know what was good? Little House on the Prairie. That show was a banger. That was a good one.
See, I think it's a female thing.
maybe.
Like all girls I know love Little House, and I could never get into it. And of course, there's the infamous mime episode, which is one of the most terrifying things I've ever seen.
Of
in
Little
my life.
House on the Prairie, there was a mime.
Oh yeah. Oh God. Yeah. I would say Google it, but I don't want to be responsible for that being in your head. It's one of the most disturbing hours of television I've ever seen, and they didn't warn people. It was just on. It was just this episode about a mime that escapes from the circus and assaults one of the girls in her room. And then the girl's dad comes in and shoots him.
Oh my God. That's how it was on the prairie.
The photos of the mime makeup is horrific. Yeah, like, you're settling in with your family at like 7:00 on a Sunday or whatever. You're going to all watch Little House and the mime pops up. No thanks.
No, this is really freaky looking. This is really creepy.
Can you imagine seeing that?
No, that's not okay.
That's not appropriate.
Fun fact, I heard that the guy, what's his name? Michael Landon.
Michael Landon?
Is that right? Is that the dad's name? Michael Landon?
Yeah, Michael Landon.
I heard he was like a huge alcoholic, and it was like a big deal on set. It was hard to work with him. But he seemed like such a good guy. I mean, his hair was so full and voluminous. You don't think he'd be drunk all the time.
There was a weird, generation of actors that were just permanently drunk, who weren't violent drunk or somehow would always know their lines, but just be hammered all the time. There's a lot of them, and he was one of them. And I've talked to people who've worked with those actors, and they're like, yeah, he would smell more like a brewery than anyone I've ever encountered in my life, but he'd come in, know all his lines, do it all in one take, and then go back and get drunk. I'm like, all right, well, I mean, if they could do that, I guess.
That's what you call a functional alcoholic. It's not getting away. It's not getting in the way of the job. It's not costing him his job. So he probably didn't even know he had a problem.
And they're like, well, people are watching. He's doing a good job. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just let him. Although there's a guy, I forget if it's Broderick Crawford or Jack Webb, but he was either on Highway Patrol or the guy from Dragnet. 50 shows, super straight-laced guy, was so drunk that they knew if they had to shoot stuff outside after noon, so after lunch, it wasn't happening, right? So they would do it all in the morning. And then, this is true, they took a filing cabinet and laid it on the floor and built the set so that he could lay down on the floor and it looked like he was standing up, leaning on a filing cabinet to do scenes and lines. And you watch the show and it's pretty obvious that he's laying on the floor and is freaking bombed.
Oh my God, I have to see that. That is so funny.
It's pretty great.
I want to be so good at my job that
great.
they're like, hey, it's okay if you're not conscious totally, or,
We're going to pretend the floor is the ceiling so that we can have you still work this job.
It was the most ultimate of, what's it called? Enabling.
That would be enabling. If you have to move a camera from a normal position so that someone can be successfully drunk at work, you are enabling that person's issue.
But I bet that was really awesome for him. He's like, you guys, thanks. You know I'm not going to get it together.
Yeah.
Just build a set on the floor. Come on.
Look, we all know. Let's just cut the shit here and get this done. There's always like real garbage that you can send away for in TV Guide. And this thing is a Lenox Crystal cat.
Oh, I can.
So it's like it's terrible, and it costs $76.
And not only that, it looks like you have to mail something. You have to cut it out of there, fill it out,
Oh, yeah.
and mail it in like an animal. Who is this for?
I don't know, because it's not like, it doesn't look good. I mean, Lenox is a name, I guess, but it's full lead crystal as well, so it's probably harmful to you. I wouldn't eat it. But it's $76. Like, what? They're 4 inches tall.
I don't get it.
Like, not now. BMG Music next to it. That's a good deal. You get 9 CDs for the price of one, and you can commit mail fraud. It's fantastic. Did you ever send away for anything?
I don't know if I did, or maybe my siblings did, or my step siblings did. I just felt like there was some kind of scam with it that I was afraid to get involved in. I'm like, this is too good to be true.
So you were skeptical from the go.
Yeah, I think so. I don't even know if I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical about if I was.
Skeptical of myself. That's how skeptical
Yes.
I am. I don't even trust that I'm not trying to screw myself over.
Exactly.
So let's dive in there. Saturday night, what'd you go with?
Saturday night, the best time. Actually, this is probably one of the worst times for finding something to watch. They're not going to put their MVP stuff on. So for Saturday night, I chose. This was like I don't know what to watch. So the first thing I saw, that I was like, I could watch Funny Farm. I could watch some of that. And then I saw that. I don't know if these are just the movie channels like Max, but there was Boomerang on, and
Yes.
and there's a movie called Child's Play, which I call Chucky. I think that's the real name.
Yep.
And Helter Skelter.
Yep. That's Chucky.
Yes.
Yeah, weird mix of movies. So you could watch the 1976 made-for-TV movie about the Manson murders.
Oh, yeah.
Helter Skelter.
Yeah.
You can watch Funny Farm from '88. So that's a 6-year-old, like, mid-tier Chevy Chase movie.
It's mid.
Or Child's Play from 4 years previously. Like, not the best choice of movies.
But
Boomerang, solid
Really
flick, and relatively
Yeah.
new. I think it came out 93. So, save yourself a trip to the video store if you're going to watch Boomerang.
Yeah.
I would have gone with the Mommies, which is a really weird sitcom.
What is
It was these two women who did like a 2-person stand-up act. They were two like middle-aged housewives with kids, and their stand-up was all like, my kids, I hate my kids kind of stuff. And they got a sitcom.
I heard about this, but it was like more
Insane. That probably also happened recently, because that sounds like something that would happen. Every new like social media platform has this happen. But this was the first time I remember this happening, and they weren't famous they weren't actors. You never saw them in anything else before this. You'd never seen them in anything after this. They were like two friends who were real moms who started the show, and it was evident. Like, they feel like non-actors. It was really bizarre. And so it was on for 2 seasons. This is season 2. And by season 2, they really tried to like stack the deck with like amazing sitcom actors around them to really try and make it work. So like Julia Duffy, who's the best, joined the cast this season, and it's still not good. It's like just so weird, but it's kind of like a fascinating car wreck to see these people just thrown in. Like, they literally went from Real Housewife to sitcom star in like 6 months.
I had no idea. I mean, I could see if it was like the novelty of it, like, hey, they come watch them try to do a show. But there are so many people out there who probably fit that criteria of being like an actress and a mom, and to just get some people who have no experience is wild, especially during this time.
I'm sure their show was probably funny, like their stage show, but like, I wouldn't. But this was '94. People would throw millions of dollars at you if they liked your set.
Man,
You get a sitcom deal. Oof. I 100% also at 10 o'clock would have watched Sisters as a 14-year-old. For some reason, I loved this show about middle-aged women, yuppies in the suburbs who were going through marriage problems and all kinds of things. Loved this show. Couldn't tell you why.
Never heard of it.
Pretty good show, I will say. I've rewatched since then, and it holds up. Also, on SNL that night, this is a rare one. Alec Baldwin and Kim Basinger were hosting
No
together.
way.
Because
They were married, right?
Yeah.
Oh
yep.
my God.
Yep. So that's only time I think a married couple hosted together with a musical guest UB40.
No, red wine.
That's right.
Yeah.
Who were very popular at this time. They also had the song in the movie Sliver with Sharon Stone.
Oh, that Sliver movie was wild.
Yeah, that's when they were like, oh, that was the erotic thriller. The height of erotic thrillers was when Sliver came out. And then did you ever see that terrible one with Bruce Willis? Color of Night?
Never heard of it.
He does like full frontal nudity in it. So people were like, ooh, it's Bruce Willis. And the premise is he's like a clinical psychiatrist or psychologist. And he has like a group of people who have all been accused of like crimes that he works with. And one's this like girl who looks young. She's probably like 20 in it. And it's like, is she a murderer? I don't know. And then it's just like graphic sex scenes for 2 hours. And then it's like, she's the murderer. It's like, that's the whole plot of this movie. And it made a ton of money for some reason. I think I described the reason. I think we know.
I'll tell you, that Sliver movie, it was something else. I think she touched herself in the bathtub. That's all I really remember. And Alec was watching a lot. He was watching everybody.
I think it was a different Baldwin. Wasn't it like Stephen Baldwin?
I don't know. They're all the same person, basically.
Yeah,
So.
that's true. That's true. Yeah, it's like you could, if you needed a Baldwin to watch a Western show for you, they could probably watch it and they wouldn't even know that you had them watch it for you because they're interchangeable.
I wouldn't even be able to tell who did it.
That'd be a good game show. Which Baldwin is this?
one
They
is
just pull a Baldwin out and and they're like, Billy? And they're like, nope,
There's so many.
you're wrong. I'm gonna pitch that. That would make a ton of money. Which Baldwin is this? Very weird. Kim Basinger, like not too long after this SNL thing, she grew up in some super small southern town, and the town she grew up in went bankrupt, and she bought the town.
How do you buy a town?
She bought all the assets of this town. So like she owned the entire town. And I forget what happened with it, but it was like, there was all these articles like Kim Basinger buys a whole town, and it was to like help them get out of bankruptcy or something. And, owned all the buildings. Like it just sounds like a premise to a terrible sitcom.
Right.
Like Hollywood actress buys a small southern town, but it actually happened.
What's that show that came out recently? Everybody, Schitt's Creek. It's basically Schitt's Creek.
Oh yeah.
But real life.
Pretty much. Yeah. Cause like 10 years later, there would have been like, get some cameras over there.
Yeah.
This is a reality show.
Wow. I want to buy a town.
Have you ever seen Bronson Pinchot's reality show from a couple of years ago?
No, I only know Charles Bronson. That's it.
Oh, Charles Bronson. I would watch a reality show with Charles Bronson. Not now, because he's dead.
Oh, well, I'd watch it.
I mean, it might be like an ASMR relaxing kind of thing. But Bronson Pinchot was Balky on Perfect Strangers and is in... so he essentially bought this entire town in Pennsylvania. He bought like all the buildings, and he likes to like himself refurbish the houses in a Greek revival style. So the reality show is like him and like these handymen he employs just like fixing up houses that he owns.
Was it good?
It was oddly very watchable. I don't know why. I couldn't tell you why.
There was a reality show I started recently that the premise sounded so good. And I don't know why, but I was so bored watching it. It was about Wayne Brady and his like unconventional relationship situation and coming out as non-binary or something like that. And it was boring.
Is he one of those guys with like 20 wives at his house? Like I would believe that if that came out.
It was like he was best friends with his ex-wife or the baby mother. Like the mother of the child, and the child was in there, and then they were all best friends. It just was like a no boundary situation. And it happens, but you got to have some drama in there if you're going to do all that.
Yeah, if there's no conflict, like, I feel like Wayne Brady isn't a guy who ever gets in an argument with anyone.
No. I was like, wow, he's finally going to be interesting. Because, like, the nicer the person is, like, the crazier the skeletons in their closet. So I'm like, this is going to be good. And then it was mid.
He seems like a guy, as soon as they yell cut, he just grabs the kid and slaps him. Give me another one. But apparently not.
Slice.
This kid wasn't slappable enough. Get me a fatter one. Sunday night.
Now this is a big night. Sunday night where it's like, okay, make sure I don't have plans. Make sure the we don't miss it. Martin comes on at 8 p.m. And I don't know if you guys watch Martin in your house, but Martin, like, it was huge. And he was so funny, and he would do all these characters. So definitely Martin at 8 p.m.
I wasn't a huge Martin guy, mostly because I love Tisha Campbell, and I was like, she could do that. Like, literally as a kid. And like, also the Shanae thing, like, I didn't think it was as funny as everyone else did. Like, after the first or second time, I was like, okay. But this is a huge one. This is the one where he proposes to Gina.
Oh, that's huge. A shocking.
I've been seeing people recently, like in the last 6 months, wearing damn Gina shirts.
Damn. I mean, it was a
like
cultural phenomenon. Damn, Gina. You Go Girl, it came from that show. Like, there's so many huge cultural things. It was like in the zeitgeist. It's not like now where there's like a million shows and everyone's.
Oh, it was huge. It was the biggest show on Fox at that time, like by far.
And it had a prime spot Sunday night. It's like, ooh, I can't wait till Sunday. Gotta watch a new Martin. And you'd sit through the.
But then at 8:30, I did do Living Single.
I did do Living Single. Gotta say, I love Living Single. I thought it was weird that they had something in the TV guide that said, vote for who Kyle goes on a date with. Like, what?
Yeah. It's a gimmick episode. It's Mr. Wonderful is going to go on a date, and then you would call a 900 number to pick which Living Single cast member he goes on a date with, either Khadijah, Maxine, or Regine. I don't know why. Which was Queen Latifah's character? What was
Khadijah.
her name? That is Khadijah. So there's 4 women here, but only 3 numbers. So I don't know why one of them just doesn't get a shot.
Oh, Sinclair. Oh, maybe she was already with Obi.
Oh, that makes sense. So they got her picture there. I wonder who won.
Oh,
all the proceeds go to the literacy fund.
I think I know who won. I mean, it was like later a thing. The classic sitcom trope of the 2 people who hate each other the most, and then they have passionate sex together. I love that. It's so toxic. So he later got with Maxine, the lawyer. They hated each other.
Who was like, she was like the all like stuck up one. It was kind of
that was
like
Regina
not fun.
or Regine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Witch.
Who was Kim Coles, right?
Kim Coles. Yeah. Oh wait, is that right? You make.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Because what is?
Because Kim Fields was Tootie on Facts of Life, but I think Kim Coles was Regina.
I know she had like. Oh wait, is this her? I can't tell if this is Kim. I think this is Sinclair. This is Sinclair. Or wait, is that her name? Maybe I got her name wrong. But the dumb one?
Maybe.
The dumb one is Kim.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like the other one's name is Regina something, maybe. Regina?
Okay, so Kim Fields played Regina. And so then the one who doesn't get a phone number here is Kim Coles.
Yeah. Kim Fields. Yep, Kim Fields.
Kim Coles was a cast member on In Living Color the first season, and they fired her so they could hire another Wayans.
Nuh-uh.
Yep.
Oh, I would be.
They wanted to hire their sister.
I mean, they could have just kept her on.
The network was like, nope, we only get enough money for these people.
We
and
only
they're
get
like,
one woman.
Fine, you can hire your sister.
Right.
Yep. You get one woman and that's it.
Why could I just work for no?
Yeah, I love Can it be here? I could do stand-up gigs just based on being on. No. Yeah, it's. I love Living Single, and I to this day, Friends ripped off Living Single. Yeah. I 100% believe that with my heart, and is a better show, and did not get the credit it deserves.
No, it didn't. And I think that even like where they filmed on the lot wasn't even as not like it's like night and day. It's crazy.
Wasn't right. They made a 25th of what the Friends people made per episode. Yeah. Then we get a 2-page spread of figure skating tonight. And there's 2 people figure skating in what looks like a very uncomfortable position that isn't impressive. It just looks like a mistake.
It looks like they're falling, and then they're like, we'll just shoot it now and we'll use it.
Like, oh, we got to print this. Well, I didn't get a good shot. I don't care.
Yeah, right.
Are they skating? Have you ever done ice skating?
Yes, I have. I mean, not like figure skating, all cool, but I'll get on some ice skates. I love roller skating. So it's different, but yeah, I like some. You're from Boston. You probably did a lot of ice skating.
I did. I will roller skate, but ice skating I am not good at. It is it's rough. And the weirdest thing was all the kids who played hockey. There's like 4 ice rinks, right? And so there's like this huge, like everyone wants the ice rink. So like Nancy Kerrigan used to practice at the ice rink near my house, but at like 4 a.m. or some crazy time like that. Cause it was like, but kids would be with hockey in high school and they'd be like, oh, I got a hockey game tonight at midnight. It'd be like whenever they could get ice
that's
time.
Hilarious.
I'm like, that seems
wrong.
Not like a thing I'd want to do. Yeah. Like, no, thanks. What better way on a very dangerous sport to make you really sleep deprived?
Exactly.
What better way to play that?
Physically exert yourself and then have to fight people. Yeah. Maybe that's why they're always fighting. They're just tired.
Possibly. Here, the big thing is that the dads get into fights after the games. So if you want to see some good fights, look up like a Pee Wee Hockey League schedule in the Boston area, and then show up about 10 minutes after the game ends and just sit in your car in the parking lot, and you will see some fat middle-aged dudes beating the bag out of each other for like clockwork.
I think that would be a good show. I feel like someone should do that and just record it and upload it.
Yeah.
I mean, at least they wait till after the game. I think that's pretty classy.
You want to set a good example for the kids, you know.
We fight after the game.
After the game. That's good sportsmanship. Yeah, and you could call it My Dad Can Beat Up Your Dad.
Yeah, that's perfect. We got a show.
And the kid, yeah, we just made $1 million, everybody. Anything else on Sunday?
Yes, I have a movie because, at 9:00, Living Single's off, and 3 Men and a Little Lady is on. It's something that maybe I'd put on, kind of watch. One of those kind of watchers, Like if I had a phone at the time, I'd probably be on my phone while I watched it. But
like talking to someone, or you mean like
scrolling? If cell phones were invented, it's like one of those scroll movies. But I love comedies, so
it's inoffensive. They're airing it as like a Valentine's movie because we're at Valentine's week here, and I'm like, I don't think that's a Valentine's movie, but okay.
Yeah,
it's a little weird. I recall at this time,
weird, honestly.
Oh yeah, because they're all it's like My Two Dads, where they're like, hey, this woman slept with 3 dudes in like whatever the 2-week window that it's like Maury, but then they're like, oh okay, well I'll raise this baby.
Yeah, just us dudes. Very weird.
It's like Maury went, we like the premise of those shows. Could we just do the before? We don't want the comedic stuff after. Just the messy stuff
running
before.
Around.
That will be our show. Yeah. My God. I don't think I've ever seen this one. I remember liking the first one, but I think even me at like whatever, when this came out, I was like 12. I was like, you're pushing the premise a little too far.
Yeah, it wasn't like a must see. That's why it has like scroll energy, like I'm gonna do something else, and there's nothing else on energy basically. What about you?
And you're not gonna turn the TV off.
Yeah,
I would have watched Tech War, which was before UPN became a thing. They tried to launch it with all these made-for-TV action movies that were basically pilots. And so this one, speaking of My Two Dads, it starred Greg Evigan, who was the cool dad on My Two Dads, who sang the theme song. And this was a show called Tech War. So it's kind of Blade Runner-ish, but really low rent. And it's based on a book series that's written and created by William Shatner.
What?
Yeah, he wrote his own sci-fi book series. And I don't even think William Shatner particularly likes science fiction. I think he was just like, what will people buy with my name on it? Oh, I guess I'll read a sci-fi book.
Yeah.
So it's really not, like, his heart's not in it. And this one just, when a deadly computer virus threatens Jake's ex-wife, will the city be next?
That makes no sense.
No, I don't know how. Maybe she has like cybernetic parts or something, and the virus. I don't know, but
Wait,
I would have watched it just because.
Is that what it says?
Yeah, his ex-wife. Yeah, not his wife. That's too much peril.
Too high stakes. Got to be.
Yeah, ex. At least he's like, will I help her?
Yeah, exactly. Will he help her or let her die? Tech Wars.
Right. I'll see.
Tech Wars.
I'll see if I got stuff to do.
Sounds like to me like you would be either fighting robots or something about tech companies trying to get.
Oh, like just guys in office suites, like negotiating.
Yeah, or like rushing to get the latest technology out, and
that might have been part of it. I feel like I need to go back and revisit Tech War, and I know I won't like it, but it will probably be interesting at least.
Oh yeah. Oh wow.
It's also the first show Greg Evigan was in that he didn't sing the theme song. So he was in a show in the 70s called BJ and the Bear, and he sang the theme song.
Wow.
And then he sang the theme song for My Two Dads. But, Tech War, I bet a lot of Greg Evigan heads tuned in, and they were like, where's the theme song with Greg Evigan singing? This is bullshit.
Yeah, I've got it. BJ and the Bear, Greg Evigan panel. Shout out by actor. I wonder how that comes up. How they're like, thanks for casting me on the show. I sing as well, and I was kind of playing with something for the theme song, and use it or I'll quit the show. How's that sound?
Yeah. Thinking, you're going to want to use it because it's really good. And it'd be weird if you used it and I wasn't on the show. So. Yeah. And actually, speaking of My Two Dads, Paul Reiser, the other dad on My Two Dads, he wrote the theme song to Mad About You that he's on. And he doesn't sing it, but he plays the piano.
I don't remember the theme song, but I remember the show.
It's like ba-dun-dun, ba-dun-dun. It's like a weird little piano riff, and it's like, tell me why I love you like I do. Tell me who. It's very not memorable. It sounds like a yogurt commercial. It's got that kind of vibe.
Ooh, enticing.
Yeah. If that's your thing, hey, Paul Reiser's your guy. He went to Juilliard for like music composition.
Really? I did not know.
Yeah.
I did not know he did that. I just know him from acting and comedy.
Yeah. He was like, I'm going to be a classical pianist. and also be an alien. Pianist is a word. Also this night, little weird. This is a made-for-TV movie. So I believe this year was when Sean Penn was in the movie Dead Man Walking, which I think he won an Oscar for as like a Murderer's Row guy. So TV was like, oh yeah? Well, we're going to do a version of that on the night before Valentine's Day for some reason. And it's going to star Tim Daly from Wings and Sean Young. And it's going to be called Witness to the Execution. And here's the weird spin on it. It takes place in the future, 1999.
Crazy. That's the future.
And in the future, 60 million viewers will pay to watch a man die. Would you?
Oh, it's like, oh, wow, this is a real ethical situation about technology and where it's headed.
Yeah, like, I don't know. It's literally right up against Three Men and a Little Lady. You could watch Witness for the Execution or Three Men and a Little Lady.
Wow. I love a good made-for-TV movie.
But I also love a movie that's set like 5 years in the future because it will be like, oh, well, yeah, the cars are flying.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, 5 years isn't that long.
I was disappointed. It just sounds like so long because it's like 80s and it's like, wow, you're in a 99, 2000. I thought the world was going to end at 2000, but
Yeah.
alas.
Because it's like, oh, you're a freshman in high school now? By the time you're graduating, it'll be the future.
Yeah, right?
Like, no. We're going to be watching people murdered live on TV.
This is what the future's all about.
I actually am kind of surprised that isn't a thing.
I think if it was, it'd be like a reality show, and maybe it would be something. They'd probably try to make it like a competition or something. Maybe one, like who could get the most viewers for their death, or like maybe the audience would vote on who got let off. Who didn't get.
Would they be trying to die? Or I mean, that's very Running Man. Yeah, I'm surprised. Oh, and then look, right on the opposite page, any 6 movies for 29 cents under new releases. Sliver.
Oh yeah, Sliver.
Which this, I don't care who you are. This is an embarrassing VHS cover to have to walk by with your family at the video store. It's Sharon Stone, like with this orgasmic look on her face, eyes closed, mouth open, and the Baldwin, whatever Baldwin it is behind her, and he's like got his head like with his mouth in her ear. So like it's implying that there's something going on there, and that's the whole cover. And then she says Sliver. Like it doesn't. I can imagine people would be like, "Daddy, what's that?"
Like, not for you. It's like Red Shoe Diaries,
starring David Duchovny.
Yeah.
He was the lead in Red Shoe Diaries. Yeah. Did you have cable growing up?
I mean, maybe sometimes when they give us a trial, but I don't think it was.
Would you try to sneak and watch stuff like that?
Oh, I didn't have to sneak. It was like there was no restrictions. Are you kidding me? No restrictions.
Yeah, same.
What would happen is like if we went to a movie with my mom and there was like a sex scene or something, she would cover our eyes. She'd be like, oh, and it was so embarrassing. And you'd be like, stop covering my eyes. But at the same time, I didn't want to watch it. It's never comfortable to watch sex scenes with your parents. As
a parent, I just wouldn't. Who would that's a worst case scenario, isn't it? Like it's more embarrassing for them, I would think. So what I'm saying is don't go see Sliver with your kids.
Don't go see Sliver with your kids. Yes, it's definitely like a late night movie. Everyone's gone to bed. And
like Snapdragon with Pam Anderson.
Never heard of Snapdragon.
Oh my God, it's the worst. It's her trying to do Basic Instinct, and she's like a murderous woman with like a dragon tattoo on her back, and maybe she kills guys. Who knows? Or maybe it's her evil twin sister. We don't know.
I mean, I would watch that.
It's watchable.
Snapdragon.
There's a lot of those movies.
Snapdragon processing unit.
Even if you Google Snapdragon Pam Anderson.
I'm gonna do that now. Anderson. Mrs. Anderson. Oh my God. 1993. Wow. Very small waist, very big boobs. A psychosexual thriller.
A genre that's gone by the wayside now. People don't. That's not.
Psychosexual? I'm
Can you imagine if someone
not a psychosexual.
If someone was like, well, what kind of movies you like? I'm into psychosexual thrillers.
Just like normal stuff, like psychosexual. What?
Yeah. Just like boring, everyday psychosexual thrillers is probably my number one genre. Sliver, great movie. So where are we? Monday night, what are you doing?
Fresh Prince of Bel Aire, 8:00, 8:30 to 10.
Yeah, you got to.
Yeah, I mean, that was another classic. Like, it's just fun and lighthearted. I love the comedy. Will Smith was hilarious. It was just a great show. And then 8:30 to 10, I said I would watch the rest of Point Blank.
I've never seen Point Blank.
No! Sorry for that person.
Oh, Point Break, rather. Point Break.
Oh, yeah. I think I meant Point Break, and I said Point Blank.
Yeah. It's the Keanu Reeves, Patrick Swayze bank robber movie.
Surfer movie.
The ad has drawings of Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze that look nothing like them. I don't know if you can see this, but this, it's the
Top
worst.
left corner. Oh, I can kind of see it. Wait, scroll.
Like, I don't know what they were going for.
How do you catch a blank without blank?
Because one of them's like an undercover cop or
Keanu.
something. But like, Keanu Reeves looks like Mark Wahlberg in this picture, and Patrick Swayze looks like a lion. Doesn't look like a human being.
Not a lion.
It's not great. And then also on at the same time, speaking of Pam Anderson, is a show called Fox's Wild Adventures in Paradise, hosted by Pauly Shore and Pam Anderson all week long on Fox.
I have that as maybe I would catch some of it to see what it was about. I honestly don't even understand what it is. Your favorite Fox stars Hawaii. I mean, I don't get it, but it's like nothing else was on.
It was them trying to do like MTV Spring Break, and it's the lamest thing because they're like, why freeze your buns off in Lillehammer? Because the Winter Olympics are going on. So they're like, don't watch the stupid Winter Olympics. You can party in paradise with Pauly Shore. I'm like, no, I'd rather ride a bull. I'd rather die on a bull than watch Pauly Shore in Hawaii.
Yeah, I mean, it's got Spring Break MTV vibes, but it's not really clear on what it's going to be. I also see this,
and I'm sorry, but Pauly Shore and a cutout of Pam Anderson isn't enough to get me to watch that.
I don't know what it is, but I would flip by it and probably turn it.
You've surely run into him at the Comedy Store.
Oh yeah, he's there all the time. Yeah.
It's that. That is bizarre as a kid who grew up in the 90s.
It's so weird. Me and my pre-husband were talking about this, like the movie Encino Man. Like we thought it just meant a man that was like frozen or something. No, it turns out Encino is a city and it's right there.
Yeah. The joke is lost on you if you don't live there, which is not good marketing.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, you're like an Encino Man, like Frozen.
In England, it's called Teenage Caveman.
Oh, well, that makes more sense. Teenage Caveman.
You know who is up for the role that Brendan Fraser plays as the caveman, who it was like down to him and Brendan Fraser? Dana Gould.
Dana Gould? I've seen him around.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, he's from Boston, isn't he?
He is, yeah. But very, like, to have a role between those two guys, it's very strange.
No, that doesn't make sense. Oh, but you know what? I did Googled his name, and there is a picture of him wearing prosthetics like an ape.
Oh, yes. He dresses up like Dr. Zaius from Planet of the Apes.
Dr. Zaius.
So, it's all of a piece.
Wow. And then I see this Fabio plays Cupid thing. I think I'm curious to see what that is.
He's hosting romantic movies on TNT. So Fabio is hosting Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, which that's not really, I guess it's technically a comedy, but I'm like, I don't know if that's like a romantic movie. The Way We Were, Picnic, and Where the Boys Are. And the whole thing with Fabio is he's nice to look at. Like, have you ever heard him speak? Mm-mm. He's like Dutch or something. He barely speaks English, and he's like really monotone. Like, you don't want him to host anything.
Fabio. I mean, Fabio, when I look at Fabio, I just think the cover of a romance novel. Like, that's all he's good for. I mean, I don't know him personally. I don't want to diss Fobs, but.
Have you ever seen the footage of him on a roller coaster when a bird committed suicide on his face?
Oh my God. I don't know. Oh God, that's so terrifying.
It's pretty funny though, because it's Fabio.
Oh my gosh, it's beautiful.
A bird flew into his face. Like, a bird was like, oh, there's nothing there. I can go right through whatever that is. And no, it's a man's face. Like, there's a reason that doesn't happen all the time. Like, so I feel like if a bird flies into your face, it's something to do with you.
Like,
it's something about your face.
You're so vapid. You're so like see-through. Birds don't even
Bird treats you like a window. And his blood all on his face, and he's all like shocked when he's getting off the roller coaster.
I couldn't imagine. That would be so traumatic.
I feel like you wouldn't know what happened.
Well, yeah, but then when you figured it out, you probably smell the bird too. It's got like a bird smell, and
Maybe.
anytime you see a bird, you're like, don't come at me. God.
Although it'd be good that it happened on a roller coaster because that's easy to avoid.
Yeah. I don't do roller coasters.
It's not something you're going to do every day.
No, I don't do roller coasters. Why not? You're scared of going upside down? No, I'm scared of a bird dying on my face. Can we just drop it?
September 12th, 1993. We're on the loop-to-loop, flying 45 miles an hour at a 90-degree angle.
Oh, God. Oh,
And boom,
I bet it smells.
Woody Woodpecker
And the blood,
just broke up with his girlfriend.
bird blood?
Is that worse than regular blood?
Yeah, they have the flu. We're literally we're in some kind of a state of emergency here in California, but the birds keep getting the flu.
Yeah.
Why don't we vaccinate the birds?
I'd volunteer to do that.
Really? After Fabio.
Line them up, give them the little shots. Yeah, maybe that's what he was trying to do. He's a bird flu researcher. It's like Jaws. That bird hates Fabio, like planned that for years.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm going to the bird mailed him free passes to the amusement park. He's like, oh, this is great. I can go on this ride.
When I go out, I'm going to go out big.
You're going to know with me.
Someone's face. Fabio's face.
Yeah, Fabio. People will say, that bird, he died on Fabio's face.
That sounds...
Oh, you pooped on someone at the beach? Well, guess what?
I died on Fabio's face. How many faces have you died
Nobody's
on?
beaten that.
No.
Let alone the cover of romance novels the world over.
Wouldn't that be funny if there was a cover of a romance novel with him with a bird flying into his face?
Like some women saw that and that's like a weird fetish for them now.
Yeah, like, oh, I never knew I needed that.
But yeah, like a bird flying into Fabio's face. It's kind of.
God.
I wrote a book. I'm not going to Google it, but I am not surprised if that actually is some kind of weird erotic fiction that's on the web.
There's so much weird stuff out there.
Yeah, I don't want to know about it. And this is Valentine's Day too, which here's a weird thing. Valentine's Day, USA Network is showing the 118th Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show as a special Valentine's Day presentation.
You guys want bitches? We got them. It was just...
Or, I mean, I'd watch that, but they're like, are you home alone?
Yeah.
You watch some dogs.
Dude, those dog shows low-key slap. Like when you don't think, you're like, this is going to be boring, because anytime I hear announcer voices, I'm like, boring. But the dogs just trotting around, jumping over.
It's a fast pace. 3 hours flies.
3
right now.
hours.
You'd never know. Tuesday, what are you doing?
Tuesday night, I really couldn't find much, so I'd be flipping around a bit. Not a great night for TV for me. I see American Bandstands on. I don't know those people, so I'm not going to deal with it. But there is something about Michael Jackson that comes on at 9 p.m. that I would watch. So
American Bandstand that night is a Teen Idols special. So this is the greatest performances of Teen Idols from yesterday and today. So listen to this lineup. Joey Lawrence, John Travolta, Fabian, Frankie Avalon, Annette Funicello, Bobby Sherman, Hermits, Color Me Bad, Donny Osmond, Janet Jackson, and Boyz II Men.
Janet Jackson.
Yeah, 87. This looks like Control era Janet Jackson.
I just don't understand why she's wait, what is the greatest performers from you? There's so many other
Teen
Idols. Oh, wow, weird.
I wouldn't call her a teen idol.
No, I wouldn't either. They're like, throw Janet Jackson in there. We need a woman.
Yeah. We got this footage.
We need a
It's
minority
free.
and we need a woman, so go ahead and throw her in there. She's an idol.
The Michael Jackson thing that's on is pretty nuts. It's on PBS and it's an episode of Frontline. And it's about tabloids. So this is all about behind the scenes of the Michael Jackson scandal. So it's like, was this hard news? Was it gossipy spectacle? And this 94 was the year he went on TV and had that statement where he's like, they photographed my penis. Do you remember?
Yes, of course. That was like a thing where it's like, this is on every channel. You need to be sure to tune in to Michael Jackson. Like
You couldn't not. Everyone was carrying it.
Yeah. We needed to know if they took pictures of his pee-pee.
It was, I think, right after that, he did that thing where he married Lisa Marie Presley and came out at the MTV Music Awards with the most unconvincing kiss I've ever seen.
Weirdest kiss. And people were like, oh, okay.
He, Emmanuel Lewis, who was Webster, he was good buddies with Michael Jackson. And he told me when he was growing up, Michael Jackson would call his house and ask if he could come over and do chores. Like he would wash their dishes and like mow their lawn and stuff.
Why?
I think because he wanted to do something like normal. Like he wasn't allowed to do anything. So he'd like fold their laundry.
Hey, Manuel, it's me. I was just wondering if I could fold some laundry. Maybe mow your lawn.
Did you wash the kitchen floor yet? I'd wax
I'd
it.
love to do that.
It sounds like a kink almost. But
That's true.
that'd be really
Yeah, what would you say?
cool doing that.
It'd be hard. Like you'd want to say yes for the story, right?
Yeah. I mean, but also I'm like, cool, someone's going to come clean. I think what would be most awkward for me is like if he didn't do a good enough job and I'm like, hey, Michael, I know
That's true.
I'm not paying you for this and you asked to do it, but you missed a spot on the window. Can
Yeah.
you go?
I'm gonna have to do this
Yeah.
again. You did it wrong. Or like that person, that's their only opinion about Michael Jackson. Like whenever he comes up, everyone's like, love his music, or like he's a child molester. But he's like, that fucking guy can't wash a goddamn window.
Yeah, he's a great dancer, but don't get him to wash your windows. That's all I'm saying.
See the way he moves, you'd think he'd be able to do it, but no. Streaks. Birds don't fly into it because they know it's a window.
Exactly. Fabio, we're looking at you.
Ugh, maybe Michael Jackson should have washed Fabio's face.
Oh, so
Boom! No. I totally burned both Fabio and Michael Jackson with that one.
that's what you call a twofer.
Two birds. One stone.
One face.
That'd be funny if there was like Fabio had a rival who like tried to set it up so two birds fell into his face so that he could get more press.
Yeah, kind of like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone, how they have like a action hero rivalry. I bet if it happened to one of them, maybe they don't even, you know what? I'm just thinking, maybe they don't even talk like that. Maybe they're just trying to out accent each other.
It could be. It could be like, how much can I get away with?
Yeah.
Like, watch this. No one's even going to question it.
Yeah.
And they put that in the movie, guys. They didn't even tell me to do it again. Although Bobcat, I don't know if you know Bobcat, he's said that like when he was in movies in the 80s, he's like, half the time I wouldn't even do the dialogue. I'd just be like, and they'd be like, cut. And I'd be like, what?
They're like, we're going to keep it. It's part of his character. Oh,
Perfect.
Police
We love
Academy.
it.
Police Academy movies were the best. Those are really good.
Yeah, I still watch those and enjoy
I
them.
haven't seen one in a long time, but I know they were good.
Mission Miami Beach, Police Academy 5, shot in Miami, features the screen debut of Carrot Top and Todd Barry.
No. What?
Yep. Well, they're both from Florida and started stand-up in Florida, so they're extras in the airport scene. They're like very visible in the airport.
That is so niche. That's so funny. Yeah, you can't miss Carrot Top.
Yeah. No, not even in Police
You might
Academy
miss
5.
your flight, but you're not missing the Carrot Top.
No, especially now. Wednesday, what are you doing?
Oh, Wednesday. This one was another easy one. 8 p.m. 90210. We're watching 90210. Okay. And they get a whole hour. Come on. Then after that, you get another hour. Melrose Place.
That was the night. Everybody watched that. And this is like height of Melrose Place.
Heather Locklear. You know, it used to always drive me crazy like it would always say guest starring Heather Locklear, but she was on every episode. Why couldn't she just be a
Yeah, she
regular?
negotiated. She negotiated that title.
Maybe she got paid more?
When I learned that, whenever they say like in featuring or like in guest starring, like their agent like put up a stink to get them that.
Yeah.
Like there was a fight about that.
Yeah, that used
like-
to drive me crazy about 90210. But Melrose Place. But it's so fun to live
Yeah.
here now. And there are apartment buildings that are like kind of structured like Melrose Place. I had a friend who lived in WeHo.
Yeah.
I'm like, this could easily have been Melrose Place. And there was so much drama too with the neighbors. So it's real.
What happened to Andrew Shue? I feel like he, at one point, he was like almost more high profile than his sister. And then after Melrose Place, like nothing.
What did happen to him? Who is this guy? Oh, yeah. He was Melrose Place.
Yeah, he was like the lead character, basically.
Yeah. Let's see here. I don't know what he's up to. 1 week ago, Amy Robach, TJ Holmes' ex's Andrew Shue and Marilee Fiebig make red.
What?
No, I didn't know what else it said, so I just filled it in. That's the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's divorced.
Well, Andrew Shue, reach out.
Oh,
We're
he was
worried
an
about you.
athlete and an entrepreneur. Good for him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but was that after he was famous? Because then they say that, but that's kind of like, you know, everyone's like, oh, you're such a good athlete. He's like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, I've never heard of him doing that. He says he's doing very well. Oh, okay. So
Okay.
he recently made an appearance on the Melrose Place Rewatch podcast. Still the place where he touched on his personal life and whether he is currently pursuing any major projects. He says, I'm doing very well. I'm very happy. My kids are all great, and I'm working on a project.
I think he protests too much.
Yeah.
Okay, Andrew, now I don't believe
Yeah,
you.
it sounds like
yeah, but-
quit asking me. My kids are fine. My health is fine. Do you know how hard it is to get work in this town? Like,
Yeah,
I'm working
100%.
on a project
I'm an
in my
athlete.
bathroom, and I don't want any more questions about it. Thank you.
Leave it at that. It's a project. What else you want to know, Daphne Zuniga? She hosts that podcast. It's her and the redhead and Courtney Thorne Smith.
The redhead, I love it.
Yeah, I forget her name,
that's-
but she was the one who was like, she was burned in the, like, and then she was like, I can't, I've just escaped the mental home or whatever. She had like a wig on.
Oh my God.
That was a big reveal. Then at 10, it's the Sports Illustrated Swimsuit 94 television special hosted by Christy Brinkley and starring Kathy Ireland. This is the day after Valentine's Day. So it's like, oh, did you have a bad Valentine's Day? Here, watch the Swimsuit 94 Sports Illustrated special.
Exactly. They're like, hey, enough of all that romance crap. Let's look at these girls in swimsuits.
I still don't get how that's a thing. Like Sports Illustrated, it's like, guys, all right, all year round, talking about baseball. How about one issue we just have like chicks in bikinis?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, that'll
Yeah,
work.
how does that happen? No other.
I don't know.
And it's not, I guess it's just sports in general. Guys like sports, they're going to like chicks in swimsuits. Put them on there. And don't forget, we're going to do a motorcycle edition next month. It's like,
Like there's no other magazine, that does like a one-off once a year. It's like, oh, our Dudes and Aprons issue of Vanity Fair or whatever.
yeah.
And everyone's like, yeah, no, that's fine. That's totally normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Thursday, what do you do?
Simpsons at 8. And this particular night, it was an hour long. So watch The Simpsons. And they were controversial back then. So 9 p.m., we're doing In Living Color. Do what you wanna do. 9:30, I'm flipping around. I'm done.
Did you have like a home channel? Like it would be the channel like as soon as you turn the TV on and then you'd flip from that channel. It's usually like MTV or something.
It was like 4 or 11.
Every time. It was like, I start here and then I go in either direction.
Yeah. And I don't go past this number. And then I don't go past
No,
it on the other end. Yeah.
because I know that'll be news channels and boring things.
Exactly. I'm not dealing with that. Not dealing with
This Simpsons episode is the Malibu Stacy one with Kathleen Turner. which is a really funny one where like it's basically like the plot of Barbie, but on The Simpsons and 20 years earlier.
Well, they say The Simpsons predicts things. Have you heard that conspiracy? Yeah.
That by 1999, we'd be watching people get executed on television. Was that on The Simpsons?
If it were, it would be happening for sure.
It would have happened. Yeah. This is what I forgot that Jim Carrey was still on In Living Color while he was becoming like a big movie star. There's another guy. I never would have guessed Jim Carrey would have been a huge movie star. Oh man,
Ace Ventura, forget about it.
Yeah. He did, what did he do? Ace Ventura and The Mask, I think it was the same year.
Ace Ventura, The Mask, and then there was like Dumb and Dumber and The Truman Show where he went more serious.
Yeah, it's going to be serious. Yeah, he's still on there being Fire Marshal Bill.
I mean, that was a classic character. Everybody loved doing Fire Marshal Bill. You put your top lip under all your teeth. Let me tell you something.
But it's like, the joke is he's a burn victim, guys.
He's not very good at it.
That's literally the joke. He's bad at his job and he is severely burned.
He does a lot of physical comedy, a lot of flopping around.
Yeah.
A lot of burnt hair.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fun guy, though.
That and Homie the Clown are probably the two biggest In Living Color breakout characters.
Homie the Clown, for sure. Homie don't play it.
And then Men on Film, probably.
And then, I was going to say, and then him and like Two Snaps in a Circle.
Yeah, those have to be the top three, I'm guessing. Surprised we never got a movie, although the movie, not Meteor Man, the movie Blankman with Damon Wayans.
Yeah.
That started as a handyman movie.
Oh.
If you recall that character from Living Color, who literally the only joke is he's handicapped.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
He's a superhero.
I do remember it. They would have him doing this thing and they like green screen him like flying. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I would not.
Like super offensive and not that funny. And that was the one that they were like, we got to make a movie out of this.
It was a different time. It was definitely a different time.
Yeah. I can't believe the movie got made. I mean, they changed it a bit to make it Blankman, but when you see Blankman and you know that it started as a handyman movie, it's not that far removed.
No. You're like, well, we'll just change it to Blankman. We'll figure out what we'll put in the place of blank, and then we'll figure it out. And they're like, what if we just blank?
They go to the premiere and they're like, guys, you said you're going to put something there. Shit.
Exactly.
Pretend it's on purpose.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a good night. There's also two more made-for-TV terrible movies on the network that was showing Tech War. The new Kung Fu, The Legend Continues with David Carradine is on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was real bad. Really, speaking of drunk people, David Carradine drunk pretty much all the time and everything.
Speaking of like bad deaths, we were talking earlier, you're going to die.
We don't know if it was bad for him.
But that's all I think about when I think about him now. Yeah. You know him from dying from erotic asphyxiation, or however you say it.
He was friends with a guy I know who's like a film director, and was friends with on Facebook as well. And like before he died, obviously, it'd be like, I came downstairs after the party last night. Look who's asleep under the table. And it would be like David Carradine.
Wow.
Drunk in his house. So it was like, then I'm like, of course, there he is.
David. Do you think him and Michael Landon ever drank together?
Probably, but did they think they ever drank together? Who knows?
They probably thought they were both hiding it pretty well. Like, nobody knows we're drunk. They probably don't remember.
Carradine also loved the pot, so he's like high and drunk in most things. And it's especially in the 80s and 90s. If you see like the B movies he's in, he's there, but he's not there.
Oh man, I love hearing a little behind the scenes. I'm not going to watch it, but if I see it, I'm going to look at it, pay attention to see if he's stoned.
I bet someone's done like a supercut on YouTube of like drunken David Carradine moments. There has to be.
Yeah.
That's what YouTube's for, right? Absolutely. Someone to spend 6 months editing clips together of drunken David Carradine.
Drunken David.
Carradine, I believe.
Cuban B. see. Go home, David Carradine, you're drunk. Red Letter Media. There's like maybe an interview or something.
Yeah, that's probably clips if it's Red Letter.
Yeah, he doesn't look good. He was great in Kill Bill. He got killed, and that's important.
Oh, yeah, no. He's good in stuff. He was a good actor. Like, that's the thing, too. You're like, wow, they were good when they're this inebriated. They probably would have been great. Or maybe not. I don't know.
Maybe it was their special powers. What there was something, I forget what show it was, where someone would get, maybe it was Family Guy, where he'd get really drunk and be able to play piano beautifully, but if he was sober, he couldn't play. Or something like that. Maybe it was that.
It's probably a true story for a lot of people.
His acting juice.
We know comedians.
After Melrose Place, I might flip around and watch some Wall Street, but it's one of those things where I feel like I need to catch it at the beginning, and I don't know that I ever have, but...
I've never seen it. I feel like I would just watch it and be like, everyone in this movie's a fucking asshole, and I hope they all die.
Pretty much.
I don't want to watch a movie like that.
Yeah. I think my qualm would be, it's like, I got to pay attention, and do I need to know Wall Street terms?
Yeah, right. Dialogue. Come on. I want to see stuff blow up.
Yeah. Move-a-log. Let's go. Dialogue.
Let's do it. Friday, final night of the week. What are you doing?
Man, this one was tough. I had a lot of options to choose from, so I think there would be a lot of flipping around. I did like Murphy Brown, which I think is kind of funny, being a kid liking Murphy Brown. It's kind of like adult, but she was funny. She had a great sense of humor. It's a great show. And then Wonder Years. Fun fact, I had, like, my childhood crush, my biggest crush was Fred Savage. So if I saw Wonder Years, I'd be really happy about that. Family Matters, Married with Children, Hanging with Mr. Cooper, Whoopi Goldberg movie, Kids in the Hall, The State. So we had some options.
That's a good night. Also, I'll mention the next time you're in Burbank, the neighborhood from the Wonder Years is right there. And it looks exactly the same. So if you ever want to drive down that street.
I'm going to look it up.
Yeah. You probably, yeah. It's right there. It looks exactly the same. I don't think Fred Savage will be there.
I met him.
Oh, did you?
When I was cocktail serving like years ago, and it was like the Directors Guild Awards at the hotel, and I forgot. It was like a part of my inner child reacted when I saw him. I was like, oh my God, it's Fred Savage. It was like, I didn't even know it was still in me, but I was shook. I was really shook.
It's weird when that stuff happens where you're like, didn't expect that reaction.
Yeah.
That surprised me.
It's so weird. And other people, it's like, I feel like I should be more excited. But like, there was like the inner child in me like flipped out.
I'm going to need to go outside.
Yeah, pretty much.
I can't. Yeah.
I got to wait on him. He had no idea. Played it super cool.
Nice. How was he for Tipper?
I don't remember, but his wife was there, which I thought was rude.
That is pretty rude. I waited on Stephen King once.
What was that like?
He was super nice. Gave me my tip in $2 bills, which is
That's
a little
weird.
strange.
I feel like he wanted to get rid of him, or he wanted to be remembered.
Probably. It was a decent tip, but it was all $2
That is
bills.
so weird.
He got a petite filet, cooked medium rare, and a Coke and a grape nut custard.
Oh, you're making me really hungry.
I'm 100% watching The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. with Bruce Campbell in it. This was a really weird show. Everybody hated. It was a Western, but it was like a sci-fi Western, and it was a comedy action show. Even Bruce Campbell hates the show. I've done Q&As with him where people have asked him about this, like lovingly, like, oh, I love Briscoe County Jr. And he's like, yeah, that show was garbage.
Not
like,
to Ken Reed, it wasn't.
Yeah, it's a fun show. Yeah, I think the quote he said to someone was, old shows are like old fish. They stink. The kid was like, okay.
Oh, what did you love about it?
There was nothing like it on TV because it was, it was like a comedy action. Like it was an action movie with like the main actor was like kind of goofy and like bad at his job. So that was funny. And then there were these weird sci-fi elements. Like, it's like Wild Wild West. Like you're seeing a thing set in the 1800s, but there's like time travel and like weird robots and stuff, which was kind of fun.
Yeah, that sounds like it was all over the place. You should remake it.
Yeah. It would do well now. I'm surprised it didn't.
Yeah.
If they did The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr., and it's like his son.
I mean, The Adventures of Briscoe County, like, honestly, something about that also makes me hungry. I don't know if it's because it sounds like brisket or if I'm just hungry or if, and then I think Carl's Jr., it's called Hardy.
Briscoe County does sound like a steakhouse, to be honest, though. Like,
Then you mentioned a petite filet.
There.
I'm like, forget about it.
yeah.
Going to Briscoe's for a
I'm one of those.
filet.
I'm calling my order at Briscoe's.
Yeah.
I'm heading in there. Well, that is the week. Is there anything you watch now, or is there like a comfort show or anything that you watch, like when you're going to bed or anything?
I might throw on some Futurama before bed to like cleanse my palate. I like I don't know. I love comedy, but I also like a lot of dark shows. So I need like kind of a palate cleanser before I go to sleep, so my nightmares aren't as
Like what kind of
bad.
dark shows?
Like crime, murder shows.
Okay.
I don't know what it is within me that like is just drawn to stuff like that. I think I'm like trying to figure out if I can catch, if I meet someone, I'm like, are they going to be a murderer? Like I can tell.
You're training for your own defense.
I just watched The Substance, and did you watch it? Wild movie. Wild. So that would need a palate cleanser.
Maybe literally, because it's pretty gross.
It is quite disgusting. Yeah. Great movie, though.
You might need an actual sorbet. Yeah.
Pretty brilliant, honestly. It's gross and brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
Which are two words I never
Yep.
thought I'd put together.
The best movies are
Gross and brilliant.
gross and brilliant.
Gross and brilliant raves time.
Blankman. It's gross and brilliant. Go see it. It's a double feature, Blankman and Sliver. It's going to be a big driving hit.
Liver man.
Sliver Man. Oh, I don't know if I want to see that. Well, I don't know what Baldwin will be in that. Thank you for doing this. I'm so glad you had the time to sit down and talk old TV.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks for
it.
having me. This was so much fun. I loved going back and like traveling through time and looking at all the old shows, and I would still watch a lot of those today.
That's Christine again by her comedy album Mixed and Confused. Very funny. I put links in the show description. You can go to tvguidancecounselor.com. You can email me at ken@icanread.com, at tvguidancecounselor@gmail.com. I can read at tvgc.com. Also, if you go to Patreon, and again, I cannot thank you guys enough for the patrons. Thank you so much. Can't do this without you. And at patreon.com/TV Guidance Counselor, you would have got a PDF of this week's issue if you are a $5 and up patron. Or go to our YouTube channel as well. I really want to do more videos on there, but I've just been so disheartened and uninspired. But maybe you can help me with that. Anyway, I'll be here next week, so I hope you will too, for a brand new edition of TV Guidance Counselor.
You wouldn't wear a ponytail if you didn't want to get punched.